Time for our next 2026 summer skate, and joined this time by defenseman Cam Crotty, who is at his folks' place just south of Ottawa proper. How's it going, Cam? Nice to see you, man.
Yeah, it's good. Summer's been good. It's nice to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't get to chat at the end of last season because you were up with the Ottawa Senators, helping them to get into the playoffs, and then, of course, play in that first round series against the Carolina Hurricanes. But looking back on last season, how did you feel about your first year in the colors of your hometown team?
Yeah, it was good. It was obviously um, super special being a kid who grew up in Ottawa and joining the organization. From all the way back to last summer. Every second so far has been really cool, and just having family at games. Like you said, wearing the colors. Obviously, like my childhood room is has been Sens colors since as long as I can remember. So it's been awesome. Last year was definitely pretty special, both in Belleville and then obviously what a dream it was to go up and play with Ottawa and get to play at the CTC and have my family experience that with me. It was really really cool.
Yeah, and to get up there at such an important time of the year as well, and I think that group of guys who went up from Belleville, I think really showed the importance that the AHL affiliate plays, in the overall season of the NHL club. And you guys jumped up there, played some massive important minutes, and really were a big piece in helping the Ottawa Sens to get into the Stanley Cup playoffs again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was. I mean, I still don't I can't fully wrap my head around the how many injuries and it seemed like they were all kind of at the same position and just one after another. So it was a really crazy situation, I guess. With at one point, I guess Dono, Yak, Gibby, Lassie, myself. There were just it seemed like every week there was someone else going up and helping and. No, it was cool. Obviously, like you said, those guys did amazing. Obviously, the end goal came up a little bit short, but at the time, the goal being to get into the playoffs, and that was a race all the way down to the very end. So those weren't easy games for any of the guys who went up, but yeah, it was pretty cool. Obviously, I don't think you're necessarily wanting to have to lean on your depth as much as Ottawa had to last year, but like you said, it's a testament to um, those guys and what we were able to do and help them.
What about your time here in Belleville? You were in Iowa before, and you were out in Tucson before that. How did your first season here in the Bay of Quinte region kind of match up to what you expected?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was nice to get it to play some teams that I really hadn't played a lot before. I guess you don't get the luxury of travel as much. So a lot of teams I hadn't played before, a lot of buildings I hadn't played in before, a lot of cities I hadn't seen. So from that standpoint, was really cool. Obviously, I think most guys would agree we would have liked to have had a slightly more successful season, and I think that's the big goal for next year is to improve, make the playoffs, and go win something. Obviously, we saw you know Toronto got it done this year, and I felt like we played with them early in the season. Obviously, we didn't see them late, but it just shows you that you get hot at the right time and you can go on a run. So I thought it was a good season in many ways, but obviously there's a lot to be improved upon, and I think that's the mindset probably for most guys coming into this year.
Yeah, and of course the main goal of making the playoffs, like we say, came up a little bit short. But was there a highlight for you in the season, or was it that call up, or was there another moment or two that kind of stood out for you?
Honestly, I think just personally, the coolest one was getting to play. It was against Utica at the CTC at some point in January, just because I got a suite there full of family. So I think that was probably the highlight of it for me. Just having, grandparents, people who can't come to games as much, and just having them all there at the same time in one place was pretty special. And on a personal note, that was definitely the highlight for me.
Yeah, without a doubt. We were talking to Oscar Patterson about the difference it can make in just having your family around. Whether it's one game every couple of weeks or in this case they're a lot closer. Yeah, do you feel different when you're out there and you know that the family's here?
I think so. I mean, it's weird. I don't think it really changes when you're playing the game.
Mm.
It's maybe just everything else. It's not like you go out there or at least I feel like I don't go out there and play any differently if someone's in the crowd or not. Or but I think everything else is I started my career pretty much as far as possible away from home, and then slowly have moved a little bit closer, which I'm fortunate. And I think it's just that support system is closer to you, and obviously your family will do anything for you. But it's a little bit easier when you're closer by, and then also just being able to pay it back in some respects and having them out to games. And I think that's a lot cooler. They'll admit it too. Like, it's not the same watching on the computer or watching on Flow Hockey, watching on whatever TS. Like, it's way better being in the stands. So I think, yeah, it makes a huge difference.
What else have you been up to stay busy outside of your training?
Um, some golf here and there. I haven't played as much as I would like to, but I've probably played 20 or so rounds. Made a quick trip out to Nashville to see Scott Harrington and his lovely family. That was back in July, and um, just had a couple weeks ago had a bunch of my family, cousins, and extended family in town for a couple weeks because my brother was getting married. So, um, but most of it has been in Ottawa or in this area. But yeah, it's been a good summer. So it's been a lot of fun.
You mentioned Scott Harrington, and you two will be kind of the two veterans on the blue line. Should you end up back here in Belleville, how do you think maybe your role or will it change at all, given that you're a returning guy? Like, I know you came in here from the get-go and were a big piece of the leadership group, but do you think that role's gonna change or be magnified at all or anything?
I don't know. That's I'm not going to change anything from my approach or anything, and come in and be the same player and try and improve just like everybody else, and continue to you know provide whatever leadership I do in the ways that I do. That's not going to change for me. Leading by example, and just preparing every day, preparing through the off season, and then coming in. And whether you're a returning guy or not, I think the mindset at the start of the year is always the same. You got to go in and earn stuff. You got to compete with your teammates and push guys. And um, everybody wants to get better, whether you're first year guy, fifth year guy, 10th year guy, whatever it is. Um, I think that's what most guys are going to they're going to have that same mindset coming in. So you got to earn things every year. I think there's a little bit of, familiarity, and guys might know, more who you are as a player, but that doesn't mean you can't come in and carve out a bigger role for yourself, or, you come in and you don't, it doesn't mean you're just going to be handed things. Right. So I think the mindset's always come in and earn it. And at least that's how I've always tried to approach things. And that's not going to change this year.
We've been asking all the guys that we've talked to through the summer, how much they've been following along to the process of putting together a roster. Have you been keeping an eye on things? And if so, what are your thoughts on some of those names that could potentially end up here in Belleville or in Ottawa this year?
I have a bit. I wouldn't say I'm glued to it at all. But what you have on paper is one thing, and then what you play like as a team is the other, right? So I think the names that have come in look phenomenal. Played against a bunch of them, but at the end of the day, we got to come together and be a team, right? So we'll see what happens, and I look forward to meeting all the new guys at camp and battling with them, and most of all, just look forward to having a good season, right? So I think that's the biggest thing.
On that note, then, how do you kind of, I guess, gel quickly, especially this year with shortened training camp and the season being moved up and everything? How do you get to that point as a group as quickly as possible?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any like specific like plans or anything, but I think it just happens. You make fast friends, and especially in hockey, with you lose 5 guys, 10 guys, and 5, 10 guys come in at the next year, and um, I think groups just they grow and come together pretty quickly, and guys are used to that at this point. And but yeah, it is going to be interesting with the shorter training camp. We'll see what that feels like this year, but. Um, Hopefully the body will feel better afterwards, which will be nice. But I was talking to somebody about this maybe last year or the year before, but you don't last in hockey, I guess, if you're not a good human or a good person, right? Those guys get weeded out very quickly. So I think that's why it becomes so easy to become friends with guys and gel with guys, is because there's no bad guys, I think, or I certainly haven't met them. Or if you do, like I said, they don't last that long.
Mhm.
So I think everybody is a good human, great players, obviously. So it just really becomes easy to come together quickly, become buddies, and then obviously maybe a couple team events and early road trips. I think are always good too. You kind of gel quickly, and then off to the races.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with that in mind, only about a month or so now until camp opens. How will you spend the rest of your free time, I guess, before we hit training camp?
Yeah, I mean, nothing's gonna change really for me. Like I've fortunately just been driving into the CTC to train for the last month or so, and I'll just keep doing that until camp. But um, lean on the strength staff, continue with our workouts, make sure everything's feeling good, and then obviously on the ice things are ramping up more and getting more into those practice type things. I think a lot of guys focus early summer and on skills work and stuff like that. And now there's a lot more emphasis on skating and getting more into that kind of practice mentality. And then yeah, just I guess the other thing is trying to manage the load. You don't want to be killing yourself too much the month before, and then maybe you're sore, tired going into camp, but you also want to build it up and get back into shape. So it's a balance. I think everybody will do it a little bit differently. My approach might be different to Harry's, and Harry's approach might be different to Dono's or whoever. So um, it's it's something that comes with experience, I guess, and what works for you. But for me, yeah, not a whole lot's going to change. Just going to keep going in, training, and get the body and mind feeling good. And like you said, only a month and a week maybe until camp. So enjoy the last couple weeks of summer off season, I guess, and then get ready for the season again.